Hello. Today I'm going to be recommending some dark academia films and TV shows. I figured it was easier to just mix the two, because two separate videos. Look, I just want to mix the two. That's all. So I said I was going to make a part 2. Here I am with the part 2. I didn't actually think I would make this video, but here I am. Let's talk about dark academia for a second though, shall we? Shall we, friends? If you don't know what dark academia is, it is an aesthetic based off of this book, The Secret History. I also have an entire video dedicated to talking about this aesthetic and deep diving into it a bit more if you want to check that out here. But just to kind of simplify this aesthetic for you, it is an aesthetic that is based around a passion for learning, an educational setting, lots of secrets, dark undertones, or even murder. So all the movies I'll be mentioning today are going to have some of the things on that list that I just mentioned: the secrets, the dark undertones to a story, the passion for learning, an educational setting. Okay, so the first movie on this list, which honestly it was really hard to decide which one was gonna go first because there are two really good ones I had to mention. But I think this is the number one. You probably know what I'm gonna say. It's 𝚘𝚎. It's 𝚘𝚎. This is a new movie. Talk about a movie that makes you feel so uncomfortable. This movie just showed some of the most bizarre things. It made everyone's so uncomfortable, and I think that was the point. Alright, so what is 𝚘𝚎 about? Let me tell you. So this story follows Oliver, who is a troubled student who's going to Oxford, and he ends up befriending this kid named Felix, who invites him over to his estate. But soon after, a series of horrifying events end up occurring. Oliver starts becoming obsessed with Felix, and I can't say anything else. I just promise you, you will be so entertained watching this film. It's so good. It's so good. And like I mentioned before, it is just a very uncomfortable film to watch. You'll see why. When you start to watch it and you see some of the scenes I'm talking about, you're gonna be like, oh, what? Why? Why is this happening? What's going on? Now moving on to number 2, Miller's Girl. So this movie is a pretty simple plot. It's about a student that becomes obsessed with her teacher and is willing to do anything for a good story, including ruining her teacher's career. Not only is this a good DA film, but I thought the cinematography was so beautiful and there were so many great shots. Yeah, so Miller's Girl, that's number 2 on my list. Also, it's like 89 degrees outside, meaning it's also super hot in my apartment and I can't run the air because it's too loud. So I'm gonna be sweating here. I am going to put all of the movies that kind of have a similar plot to Miller's Girl just so they're together, because there's quite a few. So the next movie is Dismissed. This movie stars Dylan Sprouse, who is a student. He's very straight edge, he's very smart, he's very passionate about school and getting all straight A's until he doesn't. And that moves me on into the next film, which is called The Tutor, which similar vibes, except this one, instead of taking place at a school, it's actually a rich kid who needs a tutor for his schooling, and it takes place at his house, most of it. This is actually a new film as well. So this one is a little bit different from Dismissed character-wise. The protagonist has many different personalities, I would say, and he is also very obsessive with his tutor, which is, I'm sure you can guess, that's why the movie is called The Tutor. The next movie, which is also same vibes, is called My Teacher, My Obsession. I didn't say it was going to be really good. It's a little more of a corny film, but still fits the vibes. There is no secret society, no, but you do get the obsessiveness and you get the educational background. Again, I'm just trying to check off a few of those things on my list. So this story follows Riley, who struggles to meet friends after transferring to a new high school where her father is an English teacher. When Kyla meets a fellow loner, they become close friends until Riley learns that Kyla is actually obsessed with her father. I'm really sweating here, guys. I hope you're enjoying this video. Seriously, it's hot. The next movie I wanted to mention is actually based on a book, and it's called The Da Vinci Code. You've probably heard of it, and you've probably seen this movie. So what is this movie about? After a murder in Paris at the Louvre Museum, cryptic clues and some of Leonardo da Vinci's most famous paintings lead to a discovery of religious mystery. For 2,000 years, a secret society closely guards information that should it come to light, could rock the very foundations of Christianity. So in this, you already get murder right off the bat. You also get a secret society that is withholding information, and you also get a passion for education and learning. Doesn't have to be an educational setting, just to be DA. I am sweating right now. Can you tell? Moving on to the next. I gotta turn on the air. Oh my gosh. The next show I wanted to mention is called Dare Me. One of my girlies is in this show. She's one of the leads. So go watch it. Go support. Dare Me follows the lives of competitive high school cheerleaders in a small Midwestern town. The cheerleaders become entangled in a series of dark secrets after their new coach, Colette, takes over the squad. So in this show, you get the secrets, you get the dark undertones of a story, you also get the obsession and an educational background. So in my head, it fit the dark academia aesthetic perfectly. Now we are moving on to the next one, which this isn't even out yet. I'm not even sure when it comes out. Let me see, actually. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's coming out in July 2024, and it's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's one of my favorite book series I've ever read. I could not recommend it more. But because I know the books, I'm assuming it's going to be as good as the books or even better, so I wanted to put it on this list. So this book follows a girl named 𝚌𝚘𝚖𝚎 who decides to reopen a case in her town for her senior project. And because she is getting mixed up into the case, she puts herself in danger because there's a lot of secrets out there that people don't want out. It's a great story though. Last book, absolutely incredible. I hope they do it justice. I really do. But I'm very much looking forward to this. The trailer was just released today, so I wanted to put it in the video. So yeah, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Another TV series that I'm a big fan of that's also based off of a book series, which I also like, is One of Us is Lying. So this show follows a group of high school students who happen to be in detention when one of their classmates, Simon, who runs kind of like a Gossip Girl column, ends up dead. They then become suspects in a murder case, and to try to prove their innocence, they come together to prove that they didn't do it and also figure out who did. The reason I put this on the list is because, technically speaking, it does check off all those dark academia boxes. There is a secret society that they end up making. There are lots of secrets. It is set at a school, and there is murder. It's just more set in today's time. People aren't going to be wearing like tweed blazers. You're not going to get that aspect of it, but you will get all of the other things. I loved the show so much because it was pretty much spot on to the books, which is very rare. I feel like that never happens. And it was even better than I hoped for, and I absolutely loved this show. Is it like this? This is new for me. This feels comfortable though. Now, the next movie is The Good Shepherd. Let me tell you what it's about. This movie follows Edward Wilson, who works for the CIA, whose methods become standard operating procedure for the CIA while he combats his counterparts in the KGB. But as the country slips deeper into the Cold War, Edward finds that dictation to duty above family has a price. Just wait till you see this film. The characters, the way they dress, oh my gosh, even Angelina Jolie. The Good Shepherd is so good, guys. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it. Next, we have How to Get Away with Murder. Originally, I thought this was based off of a book, but I think I'm thinking of Murder Your Employer. Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of. That's not this. It's not this. This show is about a group of ambitious law students and their brilliant criminal defense professor who becomes involved in a twisted murder plot that promises to change the course of their lives forever. This show kind of reminds me of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder a little bit, especially the last book. So good. This fits all the vibes, educational setting, secrets, murder, all that good stuff. Sorry, not good, but you know what I mean, all that DA stuff. The next movie is The Imitation Game. In this movie, we follow a mathematician who gets recruited by a British intelligence agency in 1939, and he is hired to crack codes. There's so much more to this movie than just that. I don't want to give away too much. You know how when you watch a trailer and it tells you everything? That's not going to be me. So that is the basic premise of the story, and that's all you need to know going into this and watching it. And I feel like on my last video, a lot of people were like, put this on the list. So I am. It's on the list. You're welcome. The next movie is Tolkien, And this book follows J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, as well as other notable academic works, and it follows his early life as a professor leading up to him writing the books and what caused him to write the books. But I did read that this isn't historically accurate, so just know that going into it. Tolkien has all of those vintage DA vibes that you want, like when it comes to men wearing suits. Love it. Sitting in the grass in front of the school, reading books, like, all of that stuff that you would want, Tolkien has. The next movie is Mary Shelley. So essentially this movie is about how she ended up writing Frankenstein, the book that we know and love today, the first ever sci-fi novel. And this whole story ends up coming to life when she is with her friends and they all decide to see who could write the best ghost story, which led her to writing Frankenstein. This is true. This is true. So that's what the movie's about. It just kind of goes into it much deeper, and it's such a good film, and it fits DA perfectly. The next movie is The Mummy, and this is an absolute classic, and I watched it again recently, and I was like, this is kind of DA, like the things they're wearing, they're dressed so nicely, he's got the laser on and the freaking pants. Oh my gosh, I love Brendan Fraser. Send me a Brendan Fraser, please. This movie, if you have not seen it, it's about a librarian who comes in contact with a man who's trying to find treasure in Egypt, and she has so much knowledge about it that they end up going there together to try to find, I'm pretty sure that's the right? He's trying to find treasure, right? They're trying to find the Book of the Dead. She's trying to find the Book of the Dead. He says, don't open the Book of the Dead. Open the Book of the Dead. Mummy. It's a good movie. It's DA though. It is DA. Technically speaking, it's DA because she's a librarian. She studies books. She's passionate for learning. It's just like DA in a different setting. Egypt. And there's a mummy. And the next movie is called Cracks. This film is about a young female teacher in a prestigious British boarding school who develops a special interest in one of her students, causing catastrophic changes in group dynamics. We've got the school setting here, we've got the obsession, and we've got lots of secrets. DA. Next we have Pretty Little Liars. I don't know why I didn't put this on the list before, but this is definitely DA, in my opinion. We'll see what you guys think. Probably gonna get a lot of people disagreeing with me. I'm used to it, but Pretty Little Liars follows a group of girls that are in high school and their best friend ends up dead, but they're acting pretty sketchy about it. I can't say anything else because it just ruins the whole plot of it. I really can't. Obviously, there's lots of secrets, there's murder, the school setting, kind of similar vibe to One of Us is Lying, except instead of everyone being complete strangers, they're all best friends, which makes it more sketchy. Makes it more sketchy, guys. The next film is called The Holdovers. I'm not gonna lie, I filmed that a couple of times. I could not say holdovers for some reason, but we did it. We did it, guys. What is this movie about? So this is actually a newer film. It came out in 2023, which is, we love that for us. It means you might not have seen it yet. What is it about? This movie is about a cranky history teacher at a prep school who is forced to remain on campus over the holidays with a grieving cook and a troubled student who has no place to go. It's also supposed to be in like the 70s, so it is filmed on an Arri Alexa Mini, which is super cool. It gives like this vintage feel to it, and it just looks great overall. It definitely fits in the DA world. Being on a school campus, having the history teacher there, not so many secrets. It's a little more upbeat of a DA film, but wanted to add it just in case. So that is it for everything on my list. If you're wondering why I didn't say specific things, it's because, like, if you go on TikTok and you look up DA films, you'll see every single video mention the same, like Kill Your Darlings, Dead Poets Society, Maurice, School Ties, like all of those. So I just didn't want to mention something that's getting repeated all the time. I hope you understand. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found some new movie recommendations, TV recommendations. I know I kind of combined the two. I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you in the next one.